Dear brothers and sisters, and peace be yours. What a beautiful day to gather here to stand up for Kashmir and the Kashmiri people, to take a stand against brutality, occupation, and to take a stand against injustice. And even though the number is growing and not enough yet, but there are so many people around the world who are against any occupation, any oppression, and any aggression, and we are united, and the people united will never be defeated. We live in so-called international community, and we have not heard loud voice or loud voices against Modi and his thugs and his occupation army, brutalizing Kashmiri's people, chopping off youth, burning girls, shooting people with live ammunition. Where is justice? And where is the international community to take a stand? And here in Canada, even though it's an election time, we have a spineless political leaders because they are so afraid. They don't have the legs to stand on and take a position against Modi and against India, because they put the profit and the trade before a human life and before a human blood. Shame! Shame! Shame on them! But brothers and sisters, as I said, since 1947 and onward, exactly like the Palestinian, they face brutal occupation, but they never submitted. They never surrender, and they always keep standing up and fighting for their legitimate right to live with dignity, to live with honor on their own land. And our stand here is to stand with them and to say, free, free Kashmir! Free, free Kashmir! Free, free Kashmir! Long live Kashmiri people! Long live Kashmiri people! Long live Kashmiri people! Down, down with Modi! Down, down with Modi! Down, down with Modi! And down with every national leader, whether Arab, Muslim or not, who are fetting and celebrating Modi and giving him award here and there. We say, shame on you, but they have no shame. They have no shame. And they have no shame. West, we shouldn't forget, the monkeys and donkeys of the Arab Gulf, from Saudi Arabia to Emirates to Bahrain, who are, on cohort with the terrorist Modi. You see, the United Nations and the power of the world leaders are willing to act when it suits their best interest. So they have a strong coalition with Modi, the partner of terrorism with Netanyahu, and they will not do anything because they are benefiting from the trade and military industry and all this stuff. As a Canadian, I remember standing up on this, and there were many Canadian politicians and artists and quote-unquote human rights, and they were screaming for Sudan, because the partition of Sudan is a perfect plan for their old colonial imperial project, divide and conquer. So whenever there is a plan to continue their crimes against humanity, it is divide and conquer. They did it in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, India, Kashmir. They did it in Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and they did it in Africa, and they did it in other parts of the world. So just keep that on mind. Don't trust politician when he comes to our iftar and say Eid Mubarak and wearing a socks saying Eid Mubarak or halal socks. Don't trust a politician who will rub his head or her head with the Sikh symbol or the Hindi symbol, because they are not principled people. I don't want him to say to me Eid Mubarak or her. I want them to stand up and speak justice for all, not to side with the oppressor, not to side with the occupier, and not to side with the abuser of people's right and livelihood. I know many of us will be so happy if we get a politician around and we will run to take a picture and ask Allah and thank Allah for the blessing. I have a picture with this prime minister or with this minister or with that. So what we have to do is to take a stand. And brothers and sisters, talking about take a stand, tomorrow we have the Waqf of Arba'in for commemoration of the martyrdom of Karbala and Ashura, because this is an example. Tyranny will disappear in the garbage of history, while sacrifice and martyrdom will live forever. And that's what Kashmiri people are doing, sacrificing in such a heroic way and saying we do not submit but only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. About the danger of anything goes wrong between Kashmir and Afghanistan, Google it and write the book by Eric Margolis. What the title is, A War on the Top of the World. Please Google it and get it out and read it. You might find it in a public library. Because what's happening on God's paradise on earth is a great injustice and great crimes against humanity. And when you go back to your community and neighborhood, and when you go to the mosque, how many mosques we have around the GTA? 30, 40, 50, I don't know. I lost counting. But we tell them, there is a hadith for Rasul alayhi salatu wassalam. Whoever spend his day and his night without worrying and working for another fellow Muslims and humanity, he is not one of them. That was message we need to set it back to our community. Another message which I haven't discussed with the friends of Kashmir and with Brother Zafar. After the election, let's raise funds from our own pocket and challenge whoever get elected as a government and as an opposition party and other party. And we pay for them. We pay for their food. We challenge them to go to Kashmir and eyewitness what is happening on the ground. Are you with me, guys? Are you with me, sisters and brothers? Please keep this message. And when you go back to your neighborhood and your mosque, please start talking to people about it. And I hope the friends of Kashmir will take the leadership in putting a mechanism where people can donate and be involved to help and support. We live in very lavish, comfortable lifestyle here in Canada. Even though we're not millionaires, but we live with peace, with prosperity. Our health is being taken care of. Our education is being taken care of. To a certain extent, we have a comfortable housing. But think of the mothers, of the widows, of the elderly. Think of the people of Kashmir, what they are going through. And for the last 80 days, with the total lockdown and the lack of access to livelihood, just let's think about them. Shame, shame, and shame.